My name is Emma Chin, and 6 months ago, my own mother betrayed me in the worst way possible, while I lay helpless in a hospital bed. But let me start from the beginning because you need to understand just how deep this betrayal runs. I was always the responsible one in our family. My younger sister, Lisa, partied her way through college on our parents' dime, while I worked hard, earned my medical degree and built a successful private practice. By the age of 32, I owned a beautiful house in an upscale neighborhood and had saved enough to live comfortably. My father had passed away years earlier, but I still supported my mother and sister financially, sending them money every month, despite my mother's constant criticism of my workaholic lifestyle. "When are you going to find a husband?" she would ask during our weekly dinners. "Lisa already has 3 marriage proposals and she's 5 years younger than you." It was always the same story. Lisa was the pretty one, the sociable one, the one who supposedly deserved everything handed to her on a silver platter. I learned to tune out the comparisons and focus on my patients, finding fulfillment in helping them. But everything changed on the night of March 15th. Driving home late from an emergency surgery, the roads slick from rain, I never saw the drunk driver who ran a red light. I remember the blinding headlights, the screech of brakes, and then nothing. I woke up 6 months later, weak and disoriented in a hospital bed. The first face I saw was my nurse, Maria, who looked at me with both relief and concern. "Dr. Chin, you're finally awake." "Let me call the doctor," she said, reaching for the call button. But before she could press it, I croaked out the only question that mattered. "My house, my things?" Maria's expression darkened, and in that moment I knew something was terribly wrong. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "Your mother, she had power of attorney. She sold everything." The world seemed to spin as Maria explained what had happened while I lay in a coma. My mother had sold my house, liquidated my investments, and emptied my bank accounts. Everything I had worked so hard for, gone. "Why?" I asked, barely able to speak. "She told everyone you wouldn't survive, that it was better to settle your affairs quickly. The doctors were more optimistic, but she insisted." Before Maria could finish, the door burst open. My mother and Lisa walked in, their faces not filled with joy or relief at my awakening, but irritation, almost anger. "Oh, you're finally awake," my mother said coldly. "We thought you were going to die, so we had to make arrangements." I tried to sit up, my arms trembling. "Arrangements? You sold my house. Where's the money?" Lisa smirked and raised her left hand, showing off a massive diamond ring. "Mom gave it to me. After all, I'm getting married next month. We needed the money for the wedding, and a down payment on a mansion. It's not like you were using it." I stared in shock. They had taken everything, my home, my savings, my security, all while I lay unconscious, fighting for my life. "How could you do this to me?" I whispered, tears streaming down my face. My mother's response chilled me to the bone. "You were as good as dead to us. Always working, never making time for family. At least this way the money could help someone who values family." "You'll regret this," I warned, my voice shaking with fury. "What you did wasn't just cruel, it was illegal." Lisa laughed, her voice sharp and mocking. "Prove it. Mom had power of attorney. All the paperwork is perfectly legal. Face it, sis, you've lost everything." They left me there, alone with my thoughts and the steady beep of hospital monitors. But in their greed they made one fatal mistake. They underestimated me. That night, as I lay in my hospital bed, I began to plan. Maria, who had witnessed everything, brought me my phone. Together we made calls, to my bank, to my lawyer, and finally to an old friend from medical school who now worked with the state medical board. "They think they've won," I whispered, staring out at the city lights. "But they have no idea what's coming." Over the next few weeks, as I fought through grueling physical therapy, I uncovered the full extent of their betrayal. They had sold my house far below market value to one of Lisa's friends, pocketing money under the table. Cleared out my home office, destroying confidential patient files, a direct violation of healthcare laws. Forged my signature on multiple documents, assuming I would never wake to discover their crimes. And their arrogance gave me the greatest evidence of all. Lisa posted a photo online flaunting her wedding dress with the caption, "Thank you, sis, for the early inheritance." My mother proudly posted pictures of Lisa's new mansion, bragging about how she had secured her daughter's future. Every post, every transaction, every lie. I documented it all. My lawyer began building an airtight case, but I wanted more than just justice. I wanted them to learn a lesson they would never forget. And Lisa's wedding would be the perfect stage. As I rebuilt my strength, I also rebuilt my network. Former patients, many of them powerful and well-connected, were horrified by what had happened. One offered me his guest house. Another, a private investigator, helped gather more evidence about the fraudulent property sale. Meanwhile, my mother and Lisa were too busy planning their fairy tale wedding to notice the storm I was preparing. They thought I was too broken, too weak to fight back. But they were about to learn something very important. When everything has been taken from you, you become the most dangerous person of all. Because when you have nothing left to lose, you have everything to gain. And revenge? Revenge tastes sweetest when served at a wedding. The day of Lisa's wedding arrived. A lavish affair at the city's most exclusive venue. I wasn't invited, of course, but that didn't matter. I had spent the last 3 months preparing for this moment and everything was in place. The ceremony was scheduled for 2 p.m. At 1:45, while Lisa was getting ready in the bridal suite, police officers and federal agents stormed the venue, warrant in hand. The charges? Healthcare fraud. Financial exploitation of an incapacitated person. Multiple counts of forgery. Guests were already arriving when the commotion started. I could hear my mother's shrill voice echoing through the hall. "You can't do this. This is my daughter's wedding." But they could. And they did. Lisa, still in her wedding dress, was led out in handcuffs, mascara running down her face. My mother followed, screaming and trying desperately to explain away their crimes. Their expressions when they spotted me, standing calmly across the street in a tailored designer suit, were priceless. "Did you really think you'd get away with it?" I asked, stepping closer, my voice steady. "That I'd just disappear and let you enjoy my stolen wealth? You vindictive witch." Lisa spat, her face twisted with rage. "You ruined my wedding." I smiled coldly. "No, sister dear, you ruined it yourself when you stole from a coma patient. And the wedding isn't the only thing you've lost today." Right on cue, more officers arrived at Lisa's new mansion, the one she had bought with my money. The fraudulent property sale had been exposed, and everything was being seized as evidence. Their perfect little world was collapsing, and I was there to witness every moment. But I wasn't finished. I turned to address the stunned wedding guests, many of them my mother's high society friends. My voice carried across the crowd. "I apologize for the interruption, but I thought you should all know what kind of people you were here to celebrate today. While I lay in a coma fighting for my life, these women, my own mother and sister, robbed me of everything I owned. They sold my house, drained my savings, and destroyed my medical records, putting hundreds of patients at risk. They celebrated my supposed death and used my money to fund this wedding. Well, surprise. I survived. And so did justice." The crowd erupted in shocked murmurs. My mother lunged at me, screaming, "You ungrateful child. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done for me?" I laughed bitterly. "Like leaving me homeless when I woke up? Or telling everyone I was dead so you could steal my inheritance?" The evidence was overwhelming. Investigators uncovered even more crimes than I'd first realized. My mother and Lisa hadn't just stolen from me. They had also committed insurance fraud, collecting benefits by falsely reporting my death. In the end, justice was swift. Both faced long prison sentences. The mansion, the luxury cars, the jewelry, the wedding venue deposits, everything purchased with my stolen money, was seized. My house was eventually returned through legal proceedings, though it took months of paperwork. Even the friend who helped them with the fraudulent property sale faced charges. One by one, their house of cards collapsed. But the sweetest victory came 3 months later when I opened my new medical practice. Many of my former patients returned and new ones arrived, drawn by the story of my survival and resilience. The practice thrived and I found new purpose in helping others. From prison, my mother and Lisa wrote letters, begging for forgiveness, asking for financial help. I never responded. Some wounds run too deep to heal and some betrayals can never be forgiven. Instead, I focused on rebuilding my life. I founded a charity to support patients and families, ensuring no one else would suffer the kind of betrayal I endured. Looking back now, I realize that losing everything taught me what truly matters. Not the house, not the money, but integrity and justice. My mother and sister thought they had won when they stole my possessions. But in the end they lost everything that mattered most. Their freedom, their reputation, and their family. Me. I gained something far greater than material wealth. The unshakable knowledge that no matter how dark things seem, justice will prevail, if you're willing to fight for it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about getting even. It's about emerging stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Today when I pass the plaque outside my new medical practice, I smile. Success truly is the best revenge. While my mother and sister sit behind prison walls, I heal others, rebuild lives, and stand taller than ever. They thought they had destroyed me, but in the end they only made me stronger. Because true revenge isn't about making others suffer. It's about proving they could never break you.